Good evening, everybody. It is April 3rd, 2023, 6:30. It's time for the regular meeting of the Village of Wheeling's Board. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Brady, roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Rafato?
Here.
President Horker?
Here, you have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of March 6th, 2023. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, second.
Second.
Trustee Lang, roll call, please.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
Excellent. Citizens' concerns and comments. Clerk Brady?
None today.
Staff reports. Mr. Kaup, you have something for us?
I do have a brief reminder for everybody regarding yard waste. Our yard waste program began on April 1st, and so residents are able to put out their yard waste on the same day as their refuse and recycling regular pickup schedule. Acceptable yard waste items include grass clippings, leaves, branches, and brush. There is no limit to the amount of yard waste bags or containers you can put out, but the requirements must be observed. That includes placing the items in biodegradable plastic bags marked with an X, and no plastic bags or cardboard is accepted, and brush and tree limbs a size of 3 inches or less in diameter must be bound with string. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to give your friendly Public Works Department a call, and we'd be happy to help you out.
Christmas trees?
Not anymore.
I would argue. There are no other staff reports. Consent agenda. Clerk Brady.
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the board member or citizen so request, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, resolution authorizing acceptance of the State of Illinois previous bid contract with Presidio Network Solutions Group, LLC, for the Cisco Unified Communications Upgrade Project in the amount of $183,036.16. 11B, resolution waiving competitive bidding and accepting a previous bid contract for the purchase of a new Pierce manufacturing fire engine from McQueen Emergency Group at a cost not to exceed $843,000. 11C, resolution accepting and approval a professional service agreement with Engineering Enterprise, Inc. to provide construction engineering services for the 2023 water main improvement project in the amount not to exceed $279,057, fiscal year 2023. 11D, resolution accepting and approving a publicly bid contract with Zabo Contracting, Inc. for the 2023 water main replacement program in the amount of $3,989,018. 11E, resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code Section 22-00092-00-RS. Supplemental resolution for construction and engineering for Chaddock Drive resurfacing project. 11F, resolution approving an engineering service agreement with Chastain and Associates LLC in the Provident Construction Engineering inspection for the Chaddock Drive resurfacing project in the amount of $42,671. 11G, resolution approving a publicly bid contract with Builders Paving LLC for the Chaddock Drive resurfacing project in amount not to exceed $392,000 in fiscal year 2023. 11H, ordinance approving the transfer and reallocation of the volume cap in connection with private activity bond issues and related matters. 11I, resolution ratifying an agreement with Lauterbach and Amen LLP for interim accounting related staffing services.
Any questions or comments? If there are none, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Was it Rufato? And second for Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lang,
Yes.
Trustee Kruger,
Yes.
Trustee Rufato,
Yes.
Trustee Vogel,
Yes.
Trustee Papantos,
Yes.
Trustee Vito,
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes. Clerk Brady, 13A.
Discussion regarding concept review for a mixed-use plan unit development at 350 East Dundee Road by Forrest Capital LLC.
Mr. Svandilis, what do we have here?
Thank you. Before you this evening is a concept review, as the subject indicates, and I just want to begin with an introduction that just identifies exactly what a concept review is and what it isn't. So I'm going to read a statement here at the beginning of the presentation that identifies exactly that, what the parameters of a concept review are. We will then give the floor to Community Development Director Clicker, who will give a project overview and an introduction of the project. Following that, the petitioner will have an opportunity to give their presentation, followed by questions from the Board of Trustees. At the end of the presentation, there is a single yes or no question that the board is going to be asked, and that question is the board in favor of the planned unit development concept for 350 East Dundee Road? Again, that is a simple yes or no question. The current request is for a non-binding approval of the proposed planned unit development. The feedback by the board will be used by the development team as a guide in preparation of the formal development plan. The outcome of this evening shall not constitute a formal approval or denial of the application. The decision by the board tonight is non-binding and shall not prevent the applicant from moving forward with a formal application. Director Clicker.
Yes. Yes, before you tonight is the concept review for 350 East Dundee. Just as a point of reference for everybody on this, it is the former Solex building or Cole Taylor Bank building, as we have all looked at it. It has been vacant for a number of years. There have been development proposals in the past that either through financing or whatever reasons did not go forward, the most recent being the day spa that was going to go in there. Recently, as we all also know, with the approval of the restaurant corridor study, the idea or concept of mixed use in this area has been formally adopted by the village in this area, that we would be amenable to mixed use developments in this area. With that, the Forrest Capital LLC approached us with the idea of redeveloping this existing building into a retail and a multifamily structure. So what they are proposing is that they would be first floor, 22,836 square foot of commercial space, which would include a medical office, and then 53 units of residential on the floors above. This is a quite well thought out plan by the developer, and there are a few issues though that would have to be worked out as we go through the plan unit development process with them. With that, Mr. Shapiro is here to present a little bit more and answer some questions.
Good evening. Thank you for placing us on your agenda tonight. Thank you, Mr. Clicker, for the introduction and for the overview. So all of you are very familiar with this building. Straight east, that building once was Cole Taylor and for many years has been dark. It's been vacant. And the proposal before you is to seek an adaptive reuse to put that building into action. Try to be as consistent as possible with the Milwaukee Avenue corridor study that, as you know, came out late last year. Now this, I don't believe this particular site was identified as an opportunity site, but what we learned from the corridor study is that there are other nearby sites that emphasize mixed use, which we're bringing forward to you with this concept plan. Generally, first floor commercial, floors 2, 3, and 4 residential, 19 units, 15 units of luxury residential. We'll show you some pictures with that, of that in just a moment. This is in collaboration with Cedar Street. Some of you may be aware of Cedar Street. They've been very successful with projects, including adaptive reuse projects, both suburban and downtown. The reason, among many, that building has been vacant is everything's changed. Office has changed, market has changed. What that used to be was successful in its time, but that same use can't succeed, is not sustainable today. So it is with the hope of bringing an amenitized building that has different features and that adapts some of the concepts from the Milwaukee corridor study into the village for better use. Just some of the amenities, there would be a shared workspace, there is storage space, fitness facility, a business center, a shared flex space, some meandering paths. The engineering we looked at very closely to try to address some of the engineering that was in, excuse me, the Milwaukee Avenue study, as well as some initial staff comments. So we're hopeful that you'll think of this favorably so that we can move forward towards a more formal development plan, as John has indicated. So with that, I'd like to now turn it over to Anthony Abruzzo, our architect, who can walk you through some of our plans.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, thank you for taking the time this evening to hear us out on this proposed concept. And staff, thank you very much for working with us in regards to putting this through. So to kind of fast track, I do commend you guys on this proposed plan, this restaurant corridor plan. When we did receive word that this was being introduced to the village, it really made us relook at this this development and how we originally kind of sought to try to skin this cat. We have an existing building that's roughly 23,000 square foot as a means of 3 floors. And kind of with that said, in today's economy, not only today's world, but a means of sustainability, to take such a building of vast size and kind of discredit it to throw it away, I think that would be necessarily a shame. So when we heard about this restaurant plan, this corridor plan, and with respect to some of the developments that have been going on in the nearby districts, it just kind of, we saw it as it made perfect sense. So with the taking of like the front of our Dundee Avenue and introducing roughly about 9,000 square foot of potential restaurant space, adding an awning, and I'm not sure if the staff does have, or if the board does have a picture of our rendering. There we go. So this is what we propose, essentially taking this precast existing building and cladding it with masonry components, adding balconies. In addition to that, adding a overall awning that would not only provide shade, but as we all live here in Chicago and do enjoy, or try to enjoy the outdoors as much as we possibly can, but it would give some overhead coverage and to really bring out a whole kind of a district at night and during the day by bringing these restaurants and these kind of proposed businesses in. In addition to that, we really think it would shore up the monument that you guys have put together there on the corner. With this proposed plan that we're providing different parking and kind of remapping the site as it formerly was, adding this parking, we think, in a strategic location to also give maybe the ability to work with, staff and board, but to give you guys maybe the possibility of having some dedicated spaces there along the way that people could actually use, that monument, because I know that, a lot of families for pictures and things of that nature. So furthermore, taking this restaurant row and adding these restaurants, and now we have a tenant that is actually going to be able to fill the medical space. So with such a strong commercial aspect in the beginning, and then having the possibility for these units up above, we really feel that this would be a strategic site for the village. At this point. So this is the existing site with all the existing parking that lies in the back. There's an existing concrete patio. This concrete patio, we think, gives a lot of opportunities to really put people in touch with one, like not only that of nature, but with the surrounding site. And the way that this building is cut up as a means of proposed, adding a new parking lot here, village monuments here, adding a winding path here that would bring people along Milwaukee Road to try to tie them into the site to further connect all this together. You have the parking lot here, and then adding paver sections that would bring people also from Dundee Road and try to walk them through to create kind of this, a different of a community, because we know that the building is set back, but adding this new masonry facade, and we think that this facade is really, really going to enhance that Dundee Road and then that this adjacent structure, the adjacent monument. At this point in time, I feel pretty comfortable with just kind of giving you guys a walkthrough, and I apologize for these drawings, not necessarily to scale, but this area here is along Dundee Road, proposing this retail restaurant area all along the front there. We have Absolute Healthcare Clinic that will be occupying this whole corridor, this whole center area, and then the remainder of the area we're going to be providing for that of bike racks, storage, resident storage. It's becoming a bigger need, more and more. People have items and they need a place to put them. So as how the floor plate works out, since it is a large, relatively a large building and only having X amount of glazing, so surrounding the whole corridor, an interior corridor, having all the units on the exterior, and then what we plan to do in the central corridor area on floors 2 is have a series of flex office space and then provide an additional ample amount of storage. Now, since COVID has really changed a lot of the dynamic, not only for, in the construction world, but also here on the village end in the village that I serve. And we're seeing that a lot of developers are trying to tackle and scale these projects in different ways, but what are the needs? And the need of an office or like that gathering space, so to speak, we still think it's an important thing. And people may necessarily do not want to work necessarily where they sleep, but to have this ability to have these shared flex space or these office spaces so that people could use them, we think it would be, an advantageous an idea, and to eat up a good area of that center that would be necessarily unusable. Then on the third floor, we propose to have, that's where we're going to have our amenity space. So we're proposing an in-house business center, an area for a lounge or like a shared event space for like small gatherings or when you have people over, and then having an additional area for that of more storage. On the fourth floor, now the fourth floor where it becomes, there was an existing mechanical penthouse that was approximately around 10,000 square foot. And this mechanical penthouse housed these massive air handlers that are no longer going to be used or really are efficient by any means. So with us eliminating and retrofitting, gutting out this mechanical penthouse, it really makes room for us to add additional units, but with these additional units have this rooftop areas. So having these designated rooftop areas and with the view there, having the ability to see the city and like the whole forest preserve behind there, and it's really like I don't know if any of you have really spent any time, but like in that back area, but there is like, it's a very pretty nature scene over there. And I think that these penthouse areas with these rooftop terraces would be a real nice touch. And then, of course, with our proposed community roof deck up above also, designated space around 1,500 square foot for residents. At this point in time, we'll save the questions, I believe, and I would like to turn it over to Forrest View. Forrest?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think I know most people here for a very long time. So I'd like to start with, by saying that the group has owned this property since 2005. We acquired the property when the village let it go. It was supposed to be of use to the village, and once it was let go, we acquired it. Held on to it, filled it as much as we could over the years. It was a high turnover of small tenants. Larger tenants stayed through their lease and vacated the premises. So the property's been vacant for an extended period of time. We try to keep it as clean as we can. I'm sure everyone, I've been contacted by the village when the signs were down and things needed to be done. So we've been keeping it vacant, trying to figure out what to do with it. Several proposals were brought into the village. None of them were up to the par, I guess, and did not pass the smell test, and we're hoping that this one does. At this point, we have absolutely zero use for the property the way it sits. There's no way for us to fill it. The 4 lease signs have been up there for 4 years. I think everyone knows that. You guys drive by there enough every day, and I drive by there every day because my family's been a business resident of Wheeling, over 30 years. So, and our office has been across the street from you over 10 years. So I think everyone drives by the same spots here, and we all know what it looks like. The fountain has been the eastern entrance to the village, and we want to make it look as attractive as we can. The problem with retail, on the site was lack of visibility because of the fountain, and so we chose to move the retail site to the Dundee Road, so to be sort of as much as possible visible for our potential tenants. We actually have several several companies that are interested in taking up space. One is a jewelry company, and another one is another one of those cafes. I'm not sure if the village needs another one, but we have spoken with them in the past, literally today. So what we'd like to do is present this plan to you and get your opinion of what you think of how we can beautify that corner, bring it back to the use of the village. And obviously, the property taxes will go up exponentially on this property. At this stage, they're quite low compared to the size of the building and the size of the property. With apartments being there, and the taxes will go up by at least 2.5 times of what they are today. I already know this because I own Arbor Court down the road, and I know what I pay for Arbor Court, so I know what the taxes are. In essence, I think we'd like to answer as many questions as we can. The property is being designed for empty nesters. The facilities that we're providing, the amenities, the amenities that we're providing, they're meant for people, not really a family-oriented development, if you would. It's more of an empty nester development. With the roof decks and community deck, it's not for kids, it's mostly for adults. And that's how we see this property being developed, especially in lieu of possibly having restaurants on the first floor, following the plan, following the Lakota, plan that they've created for the site across the street. It's almost identical to what they've created for the area. And we'd like to keep within the flavor of their report that, they worked so hard on and you guys approved. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Trustee Rufato first, then Trustee Lang.
Thank you. It looks like a great concept. It really does. Just a couple of questions. So there's going to be no indoor parking? It's all going to be surface parking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, it'd probably be tough to build that into it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we did an engineering study on the lot, and, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if I could attest a little bit more to the engineering.
Excuse me, sir, could you go to the mic? Thank you.
Sorry, for the engineering study that was provided. The existing northern portion of the property where the existing parking is, we were looking at possibly doing another development, 4-story building there.
Yeah.
With that said, we would have to approximately bring up the site 8 feet.
Wow.
And with that 8 feet, we run into the list of things go on, and it just makes it completely economically infeasible to really do anything. So kind of with that said, where a lot of these developments fail, and we think they become more of a public nuisance, is when the ability that they don't have parking, not only parking for the residents, but parking also for that of guests. People do have friends and family, and people do like to visit, and that as a means of, the 4, private spots, and, good luck. So we feel that there is a plus side, and especially with that of trying to bring in restaurant tenants. Restaurant tenants, that's a fickle foe, and they do require the amount of parking and the convenience factor. So we've added some like Uber drop-off pickup areas for designated cars to promote that, ride sharing, and then also the ability to have your food picked up and not have someone necessarily in flip-flops walking through the restaurant while you're trying to enjoy the meal. So having designated areas and really trying to think this, the site through on a restaurant standpoint for operations.
Then, you talked about the river. Is there any possibilities of incorporating that river as an amenity of the complex, something along the river that?
It's definitely, so what we were thinking as a means of, if at the end of the day of taking a piece of that site and eliminating some of the parking to create additional like green spaces and to have that, essentially landscaped and create a big brick paver that would be inviting to bring people down by all means.
Yeah.
As a means of, per this concept review, we received our engineering plan to find out, to the very maximum of what we can do and what more or less we cannot do. And then from that point to further pursue with staff as a means of landscaping, but to really tie this site in as a means of 2 areas, Milwaukee Road and then Dundee, Dundee Road.
Okay. And then what is, I think it's 55 units?
53.
Right. 53. And what is the average square footage of those? They look fairly sizable and really nice.
Yes, as a means of like, the majority of them range in sizes, but I believe that the average size was around 1,250 square feet.
Wow, okay.
Then some of them do go up in size.
Okay, excellent. All right, cool. And then lastly, just the last question. You're looking at empty nesters and things like that. So there's not going to be a pool in this? Is there a pool in the building? No. Okay. I was just curious. Some of the newer developments we have, but a great concept. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Rufato.
Buildings are roughly 300 units large.
Sure, that's true. Yeah, with 55 units, yeah, you forget about that. Yeah, that's true.
I do want to mention one thing that I failed to.
You need to stay to the mic, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I failed to mention that the first floor, as we discussed, as being a medical office, it's actually a group that's moving from Arlington Heights. They're an existing medical group. They're currently located on Arlington Heights Road, and we're moving them into Wheeling.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rufato. Trustee Lang, and then Trustee Papantos.
Thank you. Yeah, of all the concepts I've seen for this project, this one really looks great. I appreciate that you're bringing more active users into Restaurant Row as well. That helps. That'll help us in the long run. My really only concern is the facade. The current facade creates quite a challenge right now. So what's your plan with that?
So with it being that of all precast concrete, which actually makes it a nice blanket as a means of like structural capacity, what we would suggest is adding these masonry kind of wraparound columns that we would build out and then go against the facade to create this relief. And then in areas we would have like 1.5 feet, 8 inches to, I believe it was like 32 inches of difference, and kind of make those corners and make those massive columns that are existing on the building to really reinforce those, but clad those with new masonry. And we think that would be a nice...
Also hanging some balconies on the side, so that, to break the facade, not this facade.
Here, let me go back to... So, again, adding masonry, and then rows of soldier course. Here, going with essentially, we were thinking it's an exterior laminate, almost like a wood replica, but it creates like a lighter tone as a means of like a type of beige. It looks real modern, and then we would clad that existing area, because you could still see as a means of like the existing facade. And then we think coming off of that, we just create, a nice element, really change it up, and then create a color pattern.
Would you do cutouts, more cutouts for windows, and obviously you'll do it for patio doors?
Yes, as needed through, to kind of fit that plan, that overall plan is a mix of like the one bedrooms and to see how that interlays. But it gets also real questionable when you start cutting into that existing precast. You really start to destroy the structural integrity of it. And like these buildings are specifically designed more or less for certain things. So we've been working with a structural engineer, and he goes, let's come out from the facade as a means of really making it more dominant, and then also trying to keep this thing within, as a means of economics. I also have a construction company, and we do, as a means of Forrest design, we do design build. And in today's climate and just uncertainty, things have really gotten kind of out of scale. And we know that masonry, it's a substance that we could acquire. I know that we can get it. It's achievable, and we can maintain a price on it. So to project what these things are only adding every day.
Very good. I'm looking forward to next steps.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Papantos?
Thank you, and thank you for coming to Wheeling. One of my big concerns, and Trustee Rufato touched on it, our code does require indoor parking, at least a certain amount of, am I correct, Director Clicker? Sorry.
You are correct, but.
Thank you. And I know, for instance, North Gate Crossing, which we gave variances to as far as indoor parking, they have waiting lists for their garages. You discussed that you want this more of a, I don't want to say the empty nester, the seniors, and as you said, we all live in Chicago and we know what the weather's like, and we don't always want to run out in the cold and scrape the ice off our cars and the snow. So the lack of covered parking does bother me. It bothers me quite a bit, to tell you the truth, because you're going from a requirement of, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head with the number of units you have, how many you would need to 0, and that 0 does bother me. So it may be something you're going to have to look at.
If I may, there's a number of buildings older than this, possibly even condominiums in town, that have 0 indoor parking, like just literally down the road from here.
I totally understand that, but we're talking about when we put something up new, and there are other developers who've done what they're supposed to do. So, just saying, we're going back to before the code, no, doesn't count.
Most definitely, in that with this project being that mostly in interior rehabilitation, the problem is that if we start introducing other structures, again, the site component is probably going to cost us upwards of the tone of right now $3.2 million, and those costs are ever exceeding. I mean, just from last month, the cost of concrete as a means of per yard, Ozanga just put out, it's $165 a yard. Last year when I was bidding projects, it was $82. So as a means of right now to have $3.2 million, I don't think anybody would ever pay as a means of, it doesn't matter how long the line, so to speak, the costs really at this point, it doesn't outweigh it.
And I understand that, but then we have held other developers' feet to the fire to at least put some sort of coverings over parking.
And that's something as a means of covering, covering, that's something we could definitely, pursue as a means of looking into. Because every time that you disturb the soil, then all types of storm requirements come into effect, and the fact that it's in a floodplain, there's just a lot of other construction factors that necessarily apply, but it's something that we definitely.
Right, and this is a 30,000-foot view, so I'm not expecting design details or anything like that at this point, but I wanted to bring it up now versus, boy, you people all said this is great, and now you're telling me we've got to do something about covered parking.
So I think I hear a distinction between underground parking and covered parking. And
I am not requiring that you have underground parking or anything.
Wonderful, because that would
not be me. Right.
But your concern is some form of covered parking.
Yes.
Doesn't even have to be entirely covered or like on the first floor, but some form of covered parking to withstand the elements a little bit. I think that's what you're saying.
And this is my concern only, I'm not speaking for everybody else here.
I understand. We just want to make.
And like I said, this is concept review, so I don't want to get too much into the details, but I do want to bring that up. And you touched on the fact that this is floodplain, and I'm sure somewhat floodway right along the river there. So detention, retention is always
And the
a
factors, yeah, and
concern.
the factors kick up on this because of those, those additional factors, they accelerate.
Right, but it's something that we all have to be totally aware of because it affects everybody else down the road. I mean, just to the north of you would be a townhouse complex. I mean, really, part of Shadow Bend kind of comes into the back area of that. Having some sort of a river walk and playing up the river is a wonderful idea, but you do have to work with the Forest Preserve and, the people who own that land. It's not us. We've been there, okay, and I just want to point that out. On the medical facility, how much of the retail space would be more for the medical facility versus?
So I believe I said
total space.
9,000, and I correct myself, the medical space was around 11,000.
12,800.
12,800 for the medical, and then the retail restaurant designated space, 7,900 square feet. So it's two separate, as it means it's separate.
Okay, yeah, I just, and would there be separate entrances for the?
Yes.
And then what about for the
Residences,
residents?
Yes.
Would that be a total separate?
completely separate. So in the back
I
of
don't
the
feel like
property-
walking through a doctor's office to get up to my apartment.
And so that's what we thought. So as a means of where here, let me give you the site plan. Where the concrete patio is now, adjacent to that, we'd like to keep this directly for the medical center, keeping those, those persons in their own area, having, of course, the residential parking and then runoff parking for the businesses here, but for the retail, having parking here, we showed originally dual-sided parking, but, eliminated that to have one-sided parking, but then adding this lot here to feed this space, the retail, because that's so important. I mean, people do not like to walk that far, and especially, in the suburbs, they're not willing to take an extended distance. So providing this parking, for persons, we think it's strategic not only for our site, but then also adjacent, to the fountain. We think that this would make a nice plane, and then also for police officers as the ability to have peripheral view as a means of when patrolling and to have access and to see what's going on. I mean, that's
the medical
a
office
big
has access from both sides. So it has door access from two sides of the building. So,
So here's as a means of the medical office side here. We introduce a corridor here as the back of the house for the retail. Retail all has their entrances along this side, along these three sides. And then the main entrance for the residences along the elevator would be located in here. So we would provide a package room for Amazon drop-offs, just so the boxes aren't thrown in the hallway and, hey, good luck, figure it out. So we'll have a designated space for that, designated mail room, bike storage, and then some ancillary storage. We have our existing electrical systems and sprinkler systems on each corner of the existing building now, and those systems won't be necessarily moving, but will be upgrading, accordingly as we go through this process.
Okay. And once again, I'm trying to remember that this is concept, but have you done any work with IDOT as far as ingress and egress off of Dundee and Milwaukee? There have been problems in the past with right in, right out, and what they will allow and not allow.
So no, we have not had any contact necessarily with IDOT, but being that of existing parkways and existing situations, that we would necessarily not need IDOT's approval. If we are altering the site or altering those parkways or within, I believe, 35 feet of it or 30 feet of it, then we would have to go before them.
Okay.
As a means of a separate use, I think that's just relies on here, on the village board and the staff.
Okay,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Any other questions or comments? Trustee Vito.
So are these units condos or apartments?
Apartments.
Apartments, okay. Yeah, then I think there's less of a worry from what Trustee Papantos was saying about the covered parking. Like, if they were condos, I think you'd have a big problem. No one's gonna wanna buy a condo and freeze their car out all the time, but it's just a little more transitory when it's rental, so I like the concept overall.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vito. Trustee Kruger?
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks for coming before us today. Retention, detention is something that I pay close attention to, and my question is probably more for Director Clicker. It doesn't look like they're changing much of the span of this building or the current impervious space. Is there currently detention retention on this site from the previous use?
There is, and it would be evaluated whether it's still adequate.
I see. Okay, and then, so that,
And if I may say,
Sure.
with us adding this parking lot area, with our engineering study, we've already kind of called out the areas as a means of like what compensatory storage that we're going to have to provide. So with the altering of this and altering of a lot of these areas, we know that we'll have to provide, I don't know necessarily X amount. Yeah, I don't know what the gallon amount is, but I know that we have acknowledged that from our engineers as a means of.
fair enough. Like I said, I forgot about the new parking area, but.
Yeah, and the building footprint is not changing.
Correct.
It's altering on the fact.
So I
of the
noticed
masonry.
that, and I thought, well, maybe the previous owners had some underground that you would take advantage of, or.
This
Is there?
area here is built down. This area here is actually below this, so there's like an existing like wall here, concrete wall.
Right.
And it steeps down, and that's an area where they have, as it means, a dry bottom pond or.
I'm sure staff will direct you, with code. So I just, like I said, water is a big deal, especially when you're this close to the river.
Most
So,
definitely.
I'm mostly concerned about that. And the healthcare facility, you said that that's somebody that's moving, that would be
Yes,
So-
actually, it's an existing operation that's been in business over 12 years, as far as I know.
Got it.
And they're currently occupying about 6,200 square feet on the first floor at 1300 North on Arlington Heights. It's about Willow and Arlington Heights.
Well, that's good that you have some, some interest already.
They're not only
in
tenants, they're
space.
also investors in the deal, so
Oh,
they're definitely staying and they're definitely moving.
fair enough. Was wondering, I'm like, why are you seeking tenants already when you haven't gotten past concept?
They're also
But
our
still.
investor. Yes.
Okay, that explains it.
Yes, ma'am.
And wanted to see if this project actually held weight in the real market, kind of as a test study.
Fair enough. Well, that's why you do what you're doing today. And then, if we look favorably on that, then, staff and the plan commission will run you through the rigors. And I've certainly learned over the years that what certainly comes to us today may not be what we see when it comes to final PUD. So I recognize that. But I do like the concept. I thought the rendering was pretty impressive. And so that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kruger. Any other questions or comments? Nope. Nope. For whatever it's worth, I think it's an interesting concept. I do have a hard time with residential on Milwaukee Avenue, but I do understand that that's what the study says. Just my opinion. Mr. Spondilis, where are we at?
Thank you. We are now at the yes or no question. As a reminder, the village board is being asked to provide non-binding feedback to the developer. The developer may choose to move forward regardless of the board's feedback.
So now I have to ask the question.
Now you have to ask the question.
I'm going to ask the question. I'll poll. Clerk Brady, you just keep count.
Yeah, I am.
Awesome. Is the board in favor of the planned unit development concept for 350 East Dundee Road? Trustee Rufato.
Yes.
Trustee Vogel.
Yes.
Trustee Kruger.
Yes.
Trustee Papantos.
Yes.
Trustee Lang.
Yes.
Trustee Vito.
Yes.
I like the concept as well. So that's pretty much unanimous. Mr. Spondilis, what are they going to do now?
They are going to talk to Mr. Clicker.
A lot.
A lot. And then they will eventually end up before the plan commission.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You running on time, Mr. Shapiro? Awesome.
All right. 13B.
Clerk Brady, what do we got next?
13B, ordinance granting special use approval to permit the operation of a gaming establishment at 18 West Dundee Road, Tracy's Bistro, docket number 2023-06.
Mr. Clicker.
Yeah, so before you, Silverhawk Restaurant LLC, doing business as Tracy's, is seeking a special use to operate the existing Tracy's Bistro as a gaming establishment rather than a sit-down restaurant pursuant to their current special use. As you're all aware, with the recent code changes that we had, gaming establishments are now permitted as a special use and do not necessarily have to be a sit-down restaurant. So this went before the Plan Commission. They unanimously recommended approval with 2 conditions: that 1, the seating capacity shall not exceed a total of 14 seats, and that 2, the hours of operation shall be consistent with the liquor licensing.
Thank you, Mr. Clicker. Questions, comments? To my right, nobody. To my left, nobody. Need a motion?
So moved with conditions?
Second.
Trustee Kruger makes a motion, and Trustee Papantos seconds. Clerk Brady, give us a roll call.
Trustee Rufato?
No.
Trustee Vogel?
No.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
No.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
President Horker?
I'm a yes as well. Oh, it was a tie. Pretty much because it's kind of existing already. So, yeah, 3 to 4, they pass. Right?
Yeah, pass.
Okay.
It passes. You're with a tiebreaker.
Did his job.
They're already there.
All right, so are we done with that?
Yes.
13C, ordinance granting special use approval for the operation of a light vehicle rental facility at 1712 South Wolf Road, New Age Truck and Equipment Rental, docket number 2023-07.
Mr. Clicker.
Yes, the petitioner is seeking a special use for the operation of a light vehicle rental facility for New Age Truck and Equipment Rental, a U-Haul authorized dealer at 1712 South Wolf Road in the I-1 Industrial District. At the Plan Commission, the Commission did recommend approval of this on March 22nd with the following conditions: that 1, all rental vehicles and equipment, including but not limited to trailers, shall be parked in the rear parking lot west of the building at the south end of said lot. 2, a maximum of 8 parking spaces shall be used for all business operations for 1712 South Wolf, including but not limited to the parking for employees, customers, and rental vehicles/trailers. 3, the self-service 24/7 key box shall be located in the rear west elevation of the building, and that 4, rentals shall be limited to vehicles that are no more than 20 feet in length as measured from the front bumper to the rear bumper, and trailers with no more than 1 axle. This will limit the rental vehicles to pickup trucks, cargo vans, and 10-foot box trucks.
Trustee Rufato.
Is the petitioner here?
Come on up to the podium. Please state your name and spell it if you would.
Max Luxemburg, MAXLYUKSEMBURG.
So, sir, this is an existing business that you started without a license.
Yes.
And how long has it been in existence?
Well, there's a different business in 1712, and I had the extra parking spaces in the back, and then you all approached me and the parking in the back. So for about maybe a year and a half.
Year and a half.
2, yeah.
Okay, without a license.
Yeah.
So you mentioned now, and you mentioned in the Plan Commission meeting that you have other businesses. What other businesses do you have?
There's a mortgage company, so there's offices in front and a warehouse in the back of the unit. So there's a mortgage company, and the back of the warehouse I use is like fitness equipment storage, like to store equipment in the back.
Are those licensed?
Yeah.
Mr. Clicker, are those licensed also?
In my checks of it this afternoon, I did not see that they were, but they will be as part of this approval process. They're permitted uses.
Right, they're permitted, but they're not licensed.
I would have to defer to my double checking that tomorrow.
Okay, all right, thank you. Because again, we've got a use coming in that should have been a special use in the very beginning, and you somehow, and I'm not sure if it's the owner of that building that neglected to tell you that every business in the village needs licensing, but,
Yeah, I did not know for like the U-Haul, it would need to
So you-
come in to do a special.
I assume you've had other
license.
businesses. This isn't your first business in a town, or are these your first businesses that you've
First.
ever had?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't think that you would need a license?
I wasn't sure for like, so I started, I started with the back of the warehouse. First, I rented the back of the warehouse and like storing crates and stuff. And then I have shippers come in and pick it up. And that's been there for like 7, 8 years. So I just had that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what is your busiest time for this U-Haul?
So the U-Haul, I would say 98% of the time, it's sold down through an app. So it's, and it's mostly one-way trucks. I really don't get like local trucks. So as long as a one-way truck comes in, I have it. So a lot of times, like right now, there's nothing there. So I might not have trucks for like a month or two till someone moves to, let's say, this area and drops off the truck. So then it's there. But it's usually like between 10 and like 2, 10, 3. So like during the day.
So would you consider this an intense use of traffic?
No, this is just like a authorized dealer, so because I have the space in the back and it helps pay for rent. So it's just like part-time thing, just to pay for rent and stuff to help. Because no one uses the back of the parking lot in the corner where the units are. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Rufato. Trustee Rufato, any other questions? Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. I'm a little confused. So someone's coming in to rent a vehicle. First of all, they go to the app to see if you have a vehicle.
Yeah, these days it's sold through the app or the uhaul.com. So when they put the zip codes and say they want to rent it in Wheeling, and it shows what location or the closest location to Wheeling that has a truck available.
Okay,
if
so
mine
the
has
app's
it-
taking care of
So they
that.
do it, it gives them a code to pick it, so there's a box in the back, it gives them a code. So a lot of times, I'm not even, let's say, there or helping unless they call me and ask me for help. Or they ask me, I don't understand the app, can you do it like remote? So usually like I'll do it remotely or in the office if I'm there, and I just meet them outside and give them the key code for the box to get the key.
Okay, does that individual leave their private car there? And that's where you have 8 spots, and if you have 2 trucks sitting there, yourself, your employees.
So like I said, most of them are one-way. So usually like someone will drop them off, or like an Uber, someone will drop them off, and there's just gonna be 2 people, they'll pick up the truck and leave. Rarely, someone will do like a local where they leave a car in the back and take the truck. So, but when they they'll take the truck and park that car in that spot. So they won't use like extra parking spaces.
Okay, and then for your mortgage company, how many people are in the office for that?
It's just, everything is remote. Like, we do have loan offices, but it's all like they log in remotely. So it's me and my partner, and he's remote. I'm just there in and out, mostly in the back in the warehouse. But it's just me, like 98% of the time.
I guess what I'm getting down to is, you said you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, the back, yeah,
Until
the
we
warehouse.
found out about it.
Yeah.
Has there been a problem with exceeding the 8 parking places?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No. Yeah, I'll leave my car, like, my car's in front because there's a lot of parking spaces in front, but then the back is empty, and that's what I use for the back, for the trucks and like vans and trailers and stuff.
Thank you.
Any other questions? This is, you're on Alderman there, so at the dead end against the tracks over there, is the marble company still there?
Yeah, in the back.
Yeah, and then there's the fire extinguisher company on the other side of the street from the marble
There's a
company?
trucking company across the
Yeah.
street, and then there's the marble company.
When I was looking at this, I'm aware that there's a lot heavier uses, a lot farther down this
Yeah.
dead-end street than yours, and when I heard U-Haul, I was like, oh, they drop them off and pick them up, and,
Yeah, most people don't even know I'm there.
yeah, so I wasn't greatly concerned. No other questions? I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Vogel, second trustee Papantos, was that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk Brady, roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, and those motions were, of course, with all the conditions that were listed, correct?
Yes.
Suppose I should have done that beforehand, right?
They're included in the ordinance, the conditions.
Thank you.
The motions take that up.
Thank you, Counselor. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
New businesses, all businesses require licenses. There you go. Okay. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
What's next, Clerk Brady?
13D, ordinance granting special use approval to permit a health clinic at 544 West Dundee Road and 544B West Dundee Road, Concentra, docket number 2023-08.
Mr. Clicker.
Concentra has been operating a health clinic at 554 Dundee, and they are looking to expand. So with that expansion, we need to grant them a special use to do so. This went to the Plan Commission and received unanimous approval.
Petitioner here? Hi, come on up, introduce yourself.
My name is Kinga Skowron, and I'm representing Concentra.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board? Hey, nobody, nothing. Awesome. If there are no questions, I'll need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, second.
Second.
Trustee Krueger, roll call, please.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, there you go.
Thank you.
13E, granting a variance from Title 19 zoning to permit a reduction in the minimum required building side yard setback from 6 feet to 0 feet at 297 First Street, docket number 2023-09.
Mr. Clicker.
Yes, this is a structure that was built on the side of a garage to cover their boat. It goes right up to the property line, so it would need a 6-foot variation to be allowed. The Plan Commission heard this and did not recommend this. They actually had a 0-7 vote, but as our typical practice, the ordinances do come to you in the affirmative, so just want to make sure everybody is aware of that if you are concurring with the Plan Commission, you would vote in the negative. If you wish to go opposite of the recommendation of the Plan Commission, you would vote in the affirmative on this ordinance. With that, should the ordinance be approved, there are 3 conditions that have been placed on it, and that would be that 1, that the parking surface under the roof extension structure shall be constructed of a hard surface material. 2, within 30 days of the granting of the variance by the Village of Wheeling, the petitioner shall submit an application for building permit to the Department of Community Development for the addition and paving. Upon demonstration of compliance with all village regulations, the building permit shall be issued upon payment by the petitioner, in which the building permit fees shall be doubled pursuant to the schedule of fees and charges. And 3, the addition shall be improved with rain gutters and downspouts to discharge stormwater onto the subject property to prevent discharge onto the neighboring properties.
Questions or comments from the board? There are none. Okey-doke. Is the petitioner here? Hey.
Hello.
Hi. Want to just introduce yourself for the record? Yes? Oh, Trustee Vogel.
Is there an electrical hookup on that overhang?
What?
Is there electric?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Just want to introduce yourself and...
Явный Борис, Yanina Nepochatov.
Yanina Nepochatov.
Thank you. Mr. Clicker, for the purposes of clarification on our part, when I call for a motion as written, if we want to allow this to go through, what do we vote?
You would vote in the affirmative. If you're concurring, if you don't want it to go forward, you would still vote as you would. I'm just I guess I made it more complicated than
Yeah,
necessary.
you were. I was kind of wondering where that
If
was
you're
going.
If you're agreeing with the Plan Commission, you would vote in the negative. If you wish to go against the recommendation of the Plan Commission, you would vote in the positive.
To allow this, you just vote in the, you
Just vote yes. Just vote yes or no. That's
There you go. Was I the only one confused?
No.
Okay, good. I need a motion to allow the boat port.
So moved.
Trustee Rufato, second trustee Lang.
and this is a motion to approve the ordinance, correct?
Correct.
But the ordinance with an approval comes with some type of guttering? Is that as a condition? Okay.
Yeah, the conditions are listed in the ordinance,
Okay.
section D.
Okay. Trustee Vito.
Yes.
Trustee Lang.
No.
Trustee Kruger.
No.
Trustee Rufato.
No.
Trustee Vogel.
Yes.
Trustee Papantos.
No.
President Horker.
No. Mr. Clicker, you can explain to them what has to be removed. Thank you, sir. Sorry.
All right. 13F, granting special use approval for the operation of a recreation and instruction facility at 262 McHenry Road, Favareli, Inc., docket number 2023-10.
Mr. Clicker.
It's what you have before you is a special use for approval to permit a recreational instruction facility at 262 McHenry Road. It's a instruction facility. It would be a fashion space in which classes in drawing, fashion, and decorating would be conducted, and meetings, parties for customers of all ages, as well as internal contests, in fashion design and decorating would be held. This went before the Plan Commission on March 22nd and received a unanimous recommendation of approval.
Petitioners here? There we go.
My
Hello.
name is Valentina Fadienko. It's my husband, Dmitro Fadienko.
Your name is Valentina?
Valentina, yeah.
Okay. And Dmitro?
Dmitro.
I got the R in the wrong place. Trustee Papantos.
Thank you. Welcome to Wheeling. Can you just tell us real briefly who your students will be, age-wise, marketing to, for the most part?
Yeah. Mostly there are children in age generally from 5, but most of them, the most appropriate age is from 8 or 9 to maybe
6.
high school.
Yeah.
So you're basically starting them into an idea of whether or not they'd like this as a career to move forward with?
Yeah. Valentina had similar business in Ukraine before we moved to the United States, and it was a really successful business. Her students took first places and Grand Prix on international contests, even in Italy, and now it's this business in Ukraine is performed by family members, by our relatives, and Valentina wants to start the same business.
I won't.
Sorry, her English is a bit even worse than
I'm
mine,
just
so
studying.
I'm explaining.
You're doing quite well. I understood everything you said, so that's, thank you, and I look forward to see some of the output then, if there are contests. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Nods, no? Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Trustee Papantos, second. Trustee Rufato, roll call, please.
Trustee Lang.
Yes.
Trustee Kruger.
Yes.
Trustee Rufato.
Yes.
Trustee Vogel.
Yes.
Trustee Papantos.
Yes.
Trustee Vito.
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
13G, ordinance granting special use approval to permit a farmer's market within the Wheeling Town Center at 375 West Dundee Road. The Lynmark Group, docket number 2023-12.
Mr. Clicker.
Yes, the petitioner is seeking approval for a special use approval to operate an open-air artisan market classified as a farmer's market within the Village Green Plaza in the Wheeling Town Center. The plan is that the market would occur on the second Tuesday of each month between May and September from approximately 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And with that, the Plan Commission did recommend approval of this. Mr. Friedman is here to...
Yes.
Of course.
Please, come on
You have to at least come up
Come to the podium. Say hello.
Because you've
state
sat
your
here
name.
all evening and been entertained there for a while.
Mary needs to go first with her questions. I mean, it just wouldn't be right.
Will the food look like it does on the menu?
But he already said what the hours of operation were.
Yeah, so I don't know what else.
You know she's going to have questions, guys.
And when are you going to open? Yeah.
How soon can you,
Papantos,
you
please.
said May, this would start?
Yeah, so we're going to do 5 dates. May, June, July, August, September. It's kind of like a test to see how it works, and if it works well, we can add more dates. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, so you're only talking once a month?
Once a month, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that really wasn't clear to me, so that's part of what I wanted, and I think it's a great idea. I think it's something we'll need, but it's not going to be a traditional farmer's market, is it?
Yeah, so we're not getting like the traditional farmers selling like produce, vegetables, fruits, but we're getting a lot of the participants that go to farmers markets and sell specialty food items, oils, spices, honeys, jams, popcorn, cotton candy, rum cakes, other specialty items, so.
Sounds good, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I was kind of, I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
Anybody else?
What?
Any other questions?
No.
Okay,
I didn't mean to disturb you.
covered under our liquor license.
I would have liked to see some vegetables.
I'm looking at, I've done a market or two.
What's the alcohol content of the rum cakes?
The alcohol content?
Yeah.
Well,
Does that require a special liquor license?
We've got restaurants in the town center that can sell alcohol, so, we can certainly bring in other purveyors who want to do some sort of, I don't know, if they want to sell like organic, locally produced wines or alcohols or anything along those lines. We don't have any of those vendors as of right now, but we're certainly open to that.
You do have vendors lined up already, though?
We've got about 30, actually.
Wow.
And I can't take credit for that.
Why not?
We have a marketing team, and they're the ones that are reaching out to a lot of the vendors that participate in the neighboring markets, whether it's Buffalo Grove, Arlington Heights, Deerfield, or anything along those lines. I told them to reach out to all those vendors and see if they'd be interested in participating. We originally wanted to do a Friday afternoon market because we knew that we couldn't do a Saturday or a Sunday market and compete with the existing markets because all those vendors are committed and they don't want to give up their spot for something that's unproven. So the original thought was Friday afternoon, and we got a lot of pushback from a lot of the vendors. And that's kind of how we settled on Tuesday evening because we already have the Thursday nights live where we do the live music. So we're like, all right, well, let's pick another night. And a lot of the vendors said, yeah, Tuesday evening would work well. So that's what we're going with. Because without the vendors, we don't have anything.
You'll be out there selling rum cake.
I've reached out to one of the local farmers here in Wheeling. And
But they're not organic. So I was surprised when all these organic guys, I'm like, have you talked to these people? And they said they were organic, but okay, whatever. Yeah, you might have a tough time coming up with produce in May, but I don't know. What do I know?
Well, we don't have any.
Listening to your new list of vendors, I'm like, okay, yeah. That's,
So if you want organic, oils, spices, honey, jams, spreads, cookies, cakes,
cotton candy, popcorn.
Organic cotton candy. I mean, it just.
They're made with organic sugar.
It sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds
Yeah,
good.
it just sounds like, yeah, it'll make it healthy, right?
Just go with it.
I would totally eat that.
You've got to check out the organic honey definition, because that's a hard one. That's actually sort of controversial. Aside from all of that, anybody else got any real questions, or do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Rufato, second trustee Vogel, roll call, please.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Can't wait to see it, yes.
All right, thanks, guys. Spread the word, and if you got any vendors that you want to see, bring them by. I'm still trying to get the pickle guy for Ross, but he has not committed yet. So, thanks again, guys.
When's your,
Thanks, Brad.
do a commercial for your music nights?
Okay.
When do you have?
So we're doing the Thursday nights live, and last year we did June through September. We are adding the month of May, so we added 4 shows. So every Thursday night, starting the first week of May all the way through September, so we got 22 nights of live music in the plaza. 22 bands are already booked. We're all good. We're set to go.
Starts at?
6:30 to 9:30. And I think May 4th is the first Thursday. West End 40, I think, will be kicking off the event. So.
Excellent.
And we've got, we're also hosting like a charity bags tournament, and I mean, anything else, that comes along. The plaza is there for the use of the public. We don't charge anybody for using the space. We built it so it would be used for supporting community events, and we're happy to, lend it out. So. We have other items going on as well. One of them is like we're working with a lot of animal foster care facilities. They're gonna host, adopt a pet. So we're open to a lot of ideas and suggestions, even a wing, contest. So. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks for being involved. Official communications, Clerk Brady.
I do have one. Tomorrow is Election Day. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Those who are not registered to vote can register and vote on Election Day at their home precinct only. Bring 2 forms of ID, one with your current address. If you are unsure where your home precinct is located, go to www.cookcountyclerkil.gov/elections or call 847-499-9085.
Typically, we stay away from comments about the candidates because you want to be fair to everybody. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. How do you guys feel about the campaign so far?
Been pretty good.
It's been a tough one.
Gonna put more signs out, I think, but.
It is the last night. There's that whole, yeah.
Get the
that's
signs
good. Well,
out
good
in the
good
rain.
luck to you guys. Surely a statement on the community's opinion of your qualifications, although I don't know what that means about mine. Anybody else have anything?
I do, and you get a chance.
I do also.
Trustee Lang and then Trustee Rufato.
So my question is about our friends at Uptown 500. They promised us some greenery, and it looks like they put some AstroTurf on the side of there. What's the story with, what's the update on the Uptown?
The green wall, if you will, was not thoroughly vetted by them when they originally proposed it. I'll try to be as polite about this as I can. So this is the best solution they could come up with that works to at least give some form of
Yeah, it doesn't.
visual interest.
Yeah, at this point, I'd rather see that they paint that concrete or stain it or something like that, and to try to match the rest of the building, and I'd be happy with that, based on how everyone else feels. But that greenery, what they have up there now is just, that does not cut it at all. It almost detracts from it than helps it. And like I said, if they can stain that concrete to match the rest of the building, it probably would be much better than what's there now. Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
No, you ate it.
I mean, it looks like a little putting green.
It's not what they originally said they were going to do.
It's just-
Who was, that was it, Trustee Lang?
Yeah, that was
Okay, Trustee Rufato?
Thank you. So we had this gentleman in here with the U-Haul, no license. And I'm sure there's other businesses out there that don't have licenses in the village. And, you know, my comment is, how do we bring them into the fold? Is it, you know, this gentleman said that this is the first time he owned a business. You know, I would think that the owner of that building would be able to give him a sheet of what he needs if he's going here.
Correct.
You know, you need a business license for the village, or whatever, you know. But in addition, I don't know how anybody feels about it, but is there some type of fine that we could impose on them when they come in late with a license? Be it, you know, maybe within the first 6 months or the first year, it's fine, but after that, we find somebody, should we incorporate a fine for them? Just a consideration, a comment.
So our code does provide for, we can cite these businesses, take them through administrative adjudication, and get a fine imposed upon them. We have that ability today, and require them to get a license. If a business continues on without a license, we can seek to shut them down through a court order. So we've got the ability to cite and fine these businesses today. And again, continued noncompliance, which I'd be surprised about after a citation and a fine, can result in a court-ordered shutdown.
And is there, I mean, that can be issued at any time?
Correct.
Okay.
And as to the other aspect of it, as we've discussed before on this, it's a property owner issue in a lot of respects, more than the businesses coming in, because the business comes in and signs a lease with the property owner. Yes, the property owner should be informing of that. We've been making, over the last year and a half, 2 years, a very concerted effort to talk to the property owners and notify them of the requirements. And I was actually quite surprised most of the property owners didn't realize that. So we've been working with them. Yes, I know. We've been working with them and getting them, and if you, as Attorney Furlow can attest to, we have been going after a lot of the property owners for these issues.
Okay, all right, good, thank you. That was it.
Thank you, Trustee Rufato. Was there, Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. Chief Dunn, I noticed your patch. It's the foundation. Are they accepting donations for autism awareness this
Yes,
month?
thank you for bringing it up. Yes, our foundation does accept donations, and we do have patches available. And feel free to contact our non-emergency number, and we can set anybody up with them.
Do you happen to have the website off the top of your head, or not?
I don't, because they've changed it again.
They're making it hard on me. Thank you.
I'll be happy to get one for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. We have the bills from March 16th to March 29th, 2023. If there are no questions, I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Trustee Vogel, second. Trustee Lang, roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. All right. We have an executive session this evening for the purposes of pending, probable, and/or imminent litigation. It's important to note there will be no actions taken after we exit the executive session. I need a motion to recess into executive session and adjourn the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Papantos, second Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Regular meeting is recessed. We will come back into executive session at, adjourned. We will come back into executive session at 7:55.
Not me.